I had a referral from someone else in aviation for this other company that I went with and engaged to build out a more robust website for us. And it was a disaster. I spent a lot of time personally trying to work with this firm to get them to some kind of finish line, or at least even just some point to where I would have some type of workable project. There was a lack of clarity for me in what was going on behind the scenes and the communication.
I understand. And that's what it sounds like, exactly what you said. It's just a kind of a chaos in terms of
You know,
more
the
actionable.
very first design that you gave me, I was like, he gets it. I mean, it was, I think that's where you won my trust immediately. I think I told you of the essence of what I wanted
Yes,
the
yes.
website to feel like, and you came back with a design that represented it.
So Denise Wilson, Jet Agent, very happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me this morning.
It's makes me feel really good when very successful business people will take the time out of their day when they're in another town that they don't live in to come and spend time with me. So it makes me feel very good. So thank
Well,
you.
you guys have done some amazing things for our company, so I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate you saying that. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to do a little bit of a dive into, as much as you care to share, maybe some of the issues you were suffering through in your business prior to us meeting. Let's start with that. And then
Sure.
what prompted you not finally, but to say, I need to make a change and I'm going out into the world and going to take more risks to find another vendor?
Yeah. Well, when we first started our business 3 years ago, I did a template website, just something quick that we could put up and, deal with the beginning of the opening of the company. And the company took off pretty quickly. So I didn't really have time or reason to come back to the website until I really started, after my second year of planning meeting, started thinking about the growth of the company and where we needed to go in the future. So I decided, we really need a website that's representative of what we do as a company. And so I had a referral from someone else in aviation for this other company that I went with and engaged to build out a more robust website for us. And it was a disaster. I'm not really sure where to start with that one, how to unpack all of that, but it was an absolute disaster. I came to find out that the person that recommended me to this, had some ulterior motives, I suppose, because they were being offered a free website in exchange for bringing someone in to do the website. And so it was not a good experience. I spent a lot of time personally trying to work with this firm to get them to some kind of finish line, or at least even just some point to where I would have some type of workable project. And
you paid significant money. This isn't
I
some
did.
couple $1,000 solution that you went to. You paid a
No.
real
yes,
custom rates. And forgive me if I'm mistaken here, but there was a figma. There was a presentation in advance.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and it was lovely. And that I thought, okay, this is this is a nice design. If they can pull this design together, how difficult can it be to deliver the rest of the website? And I'd seen some of the other websites they'd done. Now, looking back, the other websites that they had done were one page, just a one-page business card type of website. But in aviation, a lot of times trying to find vendors in aviation that really understand what our needs are is tricky. So I had automatically given them some extra points in that category because they had done aviation websites.
Yeah.
But probably my own fault for this as well is realizing that I didn't want a cookie cutter aviation website. I wanted something that really spoke to who we are as a business and offered our clients the resources that they would need to be able to do their own self-research. Because frankly, all of us, right, we go onto the internet. We're going on the internet to research things. It's, the days of having a website where it's just a business card is 10, 15 years. I mean, it's an old concept, right? So I wanted to have something that was able to put a lot of our research materials and information that would give a buyer or a seller of a private jet a journey into research where they would see what our expertise is, but also get the knowledge they needed.
You got to build the authority and trust in advance of the conversation there's many benefits, but I think one of the greatest is that you minimize the amount of teaching or explaining that you must do? I don't know your customer the way I know mine, but I presume in general, no matter how many times they've bought and sold, you have your own way and there's a
Yes.
process and they must be educated as to that process. Because I often say to my clients, listen, you hired me because you have faith in my ability to do it. Please let me do my process because that's the best way we're going to get to that end result. But so coming back, you were presented what you felt were nice designs.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very curious. Why did it, what's the problem then? If it was like, it begs the question, if one gives the design, well, why are you giving designs you can't execute? Is that what happened? Like,
I think this was, honestly, I think this was internal leadership problems within that organization. So somebody went on vacation, so then somebody else jumped into the project while they were on vacation, rather than coming and just being honest with me and telling me, hey, look, we need to alter this deadline that we gave you. They did the right thing in their heart, which was put someone else on the project.
I see.
But that person didn't have the capability to, they were jumping into another part of this process that wasn't normally their process. And then when the other person came back from vacation, we were already too far along in programming, and if I could pinpoint where each of the problems were and be able to describe them, I guess today maybe I wouldn't have been in this issue with them. There was a lack of clarity for me in what was going on behind the scenes and the communication.
I understand. And that's what it sounds like, exactly what you said. It's just a kind of a chaos internally.
Yeah, it was definitely
Yeah.
chaos internally.
So I often say this. I take credit for coining it. I probably didn't. And I say, you use the word digital trauma. You experienced a bit of digital trauma, right? You did.
I did, yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Spent money, time, effort. And sometimes it's more than the money. It's the aggravations that is
There's
the
a
worst.
lot of aggravation and a lot of time. It's 2 hours a week of getting on Zoom calls and going through and having the discussion about what my vision was for the website, leaving the call thinking, we've all summarized at the end of the call who's going to do what and when we're coming back together to take a look at the final, results of the call. And every week for like 2 months, hitting my head against the table. What happened?
Yeah.
We just had a conversation about this, and I thought we agreed we were going this direction. And so it was just chaos, I think, is a good word, and just a lot of wasted time.
Wasted time is the biggest
The
loss. I
biggest
think,
thing
yeah.
was the wasted time.
I often say these days, I said, listen, I have a lot of things, but one thing I don't have a lot of is time.
Yeah.
And it's so valuable to me.
Yeah.
And you're very deliverable focused. You always have been, at least with me, right? You're,
Yeah.
When is, and not in a pressuring way. It almost like, oh, when can I expect
Yeah,
this to be
just
done?
give me the.
Yes, just tell me.
Just tell me when
If
it's
it's
going
2
to be.
weeks, it's 2 weeks. If
Yeah.
it's 10 days, it's 10 days. If it's
Exactly.
3 days, it's
And
just
stick
tell me.
with it.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
do
stick
what
with
you
it.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, I think you found me in a Google search. Is that right?
I think it was. I don't even know if it was a Google search.
Could have been social, maybe.
It might have been like a Google search, and then you popped up in my social media.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
It works.
So
yeah.
somehow all through there. Yeah.
And we had a conversation, a number of them. And again, you've been a pleasure to work with. And I think we probably talked through some of the issues you were having. And I
Yeah.
probably made some promises to you of my own.
Yes, you did.
And probably, I don't want to speak for you. Tell me if I'm wrong. But just because I said it, I articulated it well, you probably felt some bit of, well, is this just going to be another story like I've just gone through? Or are all
Yes.
creatives the same?
Well,
Right?
I've worked with a lot of creatives in the past, and frankly, this website issue that I had, it's the first time I've ever had
Good.
this kind of issue before. But the people I'd used in the past were involved with my previous business. I didn't want to. That door closed when I sold that business, so I didn't want to use the same vendors. So this was starting all fresh for me. But yes, there was a little bit of that, but at the same time, it was, there were some things that you said in some of your reels and videos that really hit the right point with me.
Good.
So I was
Yeah.
willing to give you a shot.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy to hear that because I always I come back to it. I make it a point. I'm doing this on an ongoing basis because I really believe that if I can say it in one sentence, it's I've replicated myself many times over.
Yeah.
And I'm able to build some trust with someone that has never spoken with me yet. So
Yeah.
it's very helpful.
Yeah.
I recall from our early days of going straight to Figma because I remember I was taking some, a little bit came from the existing live site. There was this kind of half staging site that you had previously that there was a lot of stuff in, right?
Yes.
And we brought it all together to Figma, and we went through the process of which I always harp on, which is the homepage first, desktop only, interior pages, desktop only, mobile version last, getting everything prepared, and you're involved in it. And why I love it so much is, you made a comment of, we'd have a conversation for 2 hours, which is heavy, and then I'd wait a week, and then we talk about, even if they had done those things in a week, well, in our process, it was you comment, we go in, and we're active. Right?
Yeah.
We're doing stuff a lot.
I much preferred that process.
I do too, because it's iterative. It's a collaboration.
Yes.
And you don't have to wait a week, and we can be in the same platform. That's, I think, the number one thing.
And if I only had time at 11 p.m. to do it, I could go in there and get it done and give you my feedback.
That's exactly right. You can go in at any time of the day, which I think is critical. Not to say there isn't a time and place for the meetings.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
But I don't think they need to be 2 hours long. And I think that they're more like, are we clear on this thing we've been doing? And I think they can be much more actionable.
The very first design that you gave me, I was like, he gets it. I mean, it was... I think that's where you won my trust immediately, because I gave you some, maybe somewhat vague, maybe I gave you some details, but I think I told you of the essence of what I wanted the website to feel like, and you came back with a design that represented it very quickly.
Appreciate you saying that. I'm at a point in my life, in my career, I have a wonderful team. There's many of us, right? And I need to leverage the skills of those individuals as much as my own. And I feel that like my highest, most important calling at this particular time, the thing I should be doing the most is the relationship.
Yeah.
And is the vision. I feel that I have been blessed. Maybe it's a blessing. Maybe it's a mixture of just having done it 1,000 times. But I feel like I generally get it, what I expect and want this to be. Because I hope this comes across the right way. I equally want to be as proud of the work as I want you to be happy with it as well. Yeah. It's maybe it's an ego thing. Maybe it's that's what matters to me now. It's not just the money. The money comes from doing good work.
Exactly.
I want to put your work on my portfolio and say, I did this work.
Yeah.
And that's super important to me. So you saying that makes me very happy. But that's like, I need to see the vision, because my team is going to take the vision. They're going to execute it across however many pages internally we need. And that's important. And another point you said, which I liked, I didn't like it for you at that time, but I wanted to bring it up. It's that, you represent a piece of something in Figma. It seems like this other group, like they showed you some stuff, but didn't do all of the stuff.
Correct.
And then they're like guessing when they're going into a platform. And I can't afford to guess. We can't guess. Oftentimes I go to websites and I see the homepage. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Then you start looking at the internal pages, and it's like, you lost me.
Yes.
This becomes what I refer to as Microsoft Word. It's black font text on a white background page, long form, right? And this is not design, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So having the systems in order to make sure things are done correctly, I think is really important. One of the most satisfying things for me in your project was your buying guides. Mm-hmm. Can I speak about that? So you had mentioned in the beginning that teammate of yours spends some significant time on a monthly basis in order to go in and update the market data around something like 24 aircrafts.
About 24.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this individual was taking, a couple days of time monthly in order to do this, right? In order to format, et cetera, et cetera. And I recall saying, hey, look, okay, you know what? Let me pause for a second. You almost didn't hire me probably because I didn't have aviation experience, or at least you hired the other one because they had aviation experience.
I hired the other one because they had aviation experience.
And I've heard that before. And when I started, when I was a fledgling designer, 2012, had no experience, no credentials, no nothing, a lot of these coaching type things would say, just do websites for lawyers, or just do websites for doctors, or whoever. Choose your niche and just run with that, because I get it. You can speak deeper about their particular need. Mm-hmm. I never took that advice.
Yeah.
I have clients in every imaginable business, but I didn't speak the language, but I got the point, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it's an asset to my client that I have this varying background, because I'm bringing e-commerce experience to you. I'm bringing lead gen experience to you. I'm bringing from all kinds of stuff. So coming back to the point of, you have this issue, colleague is spending significant time of their on a monthly basis in order to update stuff because it's of real value to your audience.
Yeah.
And you're known for putting these together, and you're the resource, and it's a very important part. And we said, okay, we can systemize this thing so that we can turn it into a, I don't want to speak for you, but what has it turned into on a time basis, would you say, in the last couple of months?
A huge time saving. I would say it probably takes them an hour now to put together the whole month of aircraft
Wow.
market reports, where it was a couple-day process
Day.
previously. But, I want to touch on something that you just said, which is about your wide experience. And if we had gone to an aviation-specific website company to do this, our site would have looked like everybody else's in the aviation industry. The way the market reports were done, the aircraft buying guides, all of the aircraft showroom, everything would have been done just like everybody else does it. And, we didn't want to look like everybody else. And so I think your perspective of, how does the website communicate with your audience is a better messaging to go after than, oh yeah, we know how to do aviation.
And particularly is very, very important when you are sending real traffic to the website.
Yeah.
This isn't just a business card for you. You're not just hoping that some aircraft buyer is going to happen upon your site out of nowhere. And then that'll happen.
Yeah.
You're known in the industry, you get referrals, that's all well and good. But you also spend in order to acquire customers, which I'm a huge proponent of course. And it just makes it so much more important. And as you well know, we design custom landing page for very specific traffic around a specific aircraft, and we're able to give a particular message. And
Yeah.
it's just one call to action, which is do this following thing. This is all we want you to do. Fill out this form. And it all it ties together. And one of my favorite things in the marketing piece of it is that we can take something that we think is right. We can start spending money and sending traffic to this particular thing. And the numbers will tell us we're either going to win or we're not going to win, or it's going to be average or below average or above average. And I think where we really add value on an ongoing basis is it's the CRO, the conversion rate optimization. It's the paying attention. One of my colleagues, Tom, very, very, very specific on what may be a minor thing. Hey, this particular thing from a journey of if I'm the customer bothers me, let's change it. Let's see how it affects the results, right? All this stuff is important. So the site should be a living and breathing representation of you. I love the fact that we reduced, 15, 20 hours to 1 or 2 hours. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, just from a 30,000-foot view, no pun intended, we are entering data into a spreadsheet and it magically shows up on the site.
Yeah.
Which
in
I
a lot
think
of
is
different
wonderful.
areas of the site.
Yes.
Even much more so than just the aircraft market reports, but like you mentioned, the aircraft buying guides and all
Yes.
of that's been simplified. And you mentioned the ad part. We never did any kind of Google ad spend in the past. My last business, I never did it either, and everything. Right? Business comes in, but I've been really surprised at how the leads that we've gotten from this have been super on target. Every single person that's reached out to us through that part of the development of the website, right through the Google ads, has been a full-on qualified lead for us.
Music to my ears.
Yeah. So I was very pleasantly surprised at how that worked out.
Doesn't always happen. Doesn't always happen. People will call me often, and I think that my role oftentimes is, Mr. I'm telling you why this is a bad idea. Right? That happens to me a lot because I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't
Yeah.
see it. In your case, I saw it completely. And there's some luck involved, and there's some aligning of the stars and moon, right, in order to make it happen. But, in general, it's, what are the costs per clicks? How much can we afford to spend in order to acquire a lead? How many leads do we need in order to get a customer, right? All these
Yeah.
things, just mathematics. In
Yeah.
this case, makes sense. And so often, and the numbers don't make sense. If we're selling this product for
$2
$19.95
widget. Yeah.
and it costs us $4 per click, well, that's never going to work. I don't
Yeah.
care how good we are.
Yeah.
So it's, knowing what to ask and all that. But it makes sense. And it's hopefully something that we can only grow and grow and grow over time.
Yeah. I have some huge plans on how to expand all of that. So,
Great.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing about it. We've been together now, would you say maybe 6 months?
God, I can't believe it's only been 6
Is
months.
it about? Something like that.
I think last summer. So yeah, 6 months.
I always say, I pray that we'll have a very long-term relationship together. And maybe if you would be so kind as to, what would you say to to somebody that's in your position or that's suffering through some headache that they have with a particular vendor? There's some, how do I say it? One stays with a vendor sometimes because there's comfort in it, not because they're particularly happy, but they're scared of a change. Maybe the change will be bad. Maybe it won't work out. Uh, what do you say to someone that's in that position?
Well, I think you don't know what you don't know. So if you've been with someone for a very long time, right, you don't know what other services out there. So, it's hard to speak to that, right? You may have a absolutely fantastic web designer who's kept up with the times, and you know, but I would say definitely having a conversation with you, because what I feel like you've done for our business is not just the website, but you're actually part of the growth of the business in a lot of ways. And you're regularly coming to me with suggestions and ideas about how our business can be more visible, which I really appreciate. And so, I think if someone's just with a web company, maybe you're missing out on some of that. But I think, what I've appreciated is you've gently pulled me into some new ways of, getting our company out there that I wouldn't say that maybe that I was uncomfortable with, but just I never really thought about doing for us. And that's been favorably received, and it's been good for our business.
Good. Music to my ears. I'm
Yeah.
quite pushy when I have an idea I like, right? Like, just because
In
I,
a gentle way.
in a gentle way, but I
Yeah.
feel like I feel it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
just
that's the
said,
thing. You're so convinced of that that
yes, there's
it's
no other, no
I'll just
other,
come along with you. That sounds you sound like you're confident about
yeah.
it, so I'll just go along
Well,
with
no
you.
other possibility could be, yeah. I'll say, look, I take it very seriously. This is your livelihood. It's your business. You're spending significant money, right? This isn't for joking. This isn't
Yeah.
something for playing around. And I always remind myself of that. That's at the core of it. It's that I would never recommend something to you that I myself in your situation would not do.
Yeah.
And frankly, we're on these platforms so much, and it works. And
Yeah.
it's not an ATM. Sometimes it, God opens up the clouds and it rains down on us. Other times it's not so nice. But I think in general, if you're paying attention and you have that kind of iterative process of incremental improvements, I think you're set up for success. Denise Wilson, thejetagent.com. Please, whomever watches, check out the website. Very proud of the work we've done, and I look forward to seeing what happens in 2026 for you.
Thanks for all your support.
Thank
We really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.